Oh, wait, I gotta fix my mustache. Wait. Hold on.
Not the
I
mustache.
apologize.
This is not okay.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of ToVsday. Joined here once again by the lovely Angie and Livy. Go ahead and say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
And today, like we promised last week, we're going to be going over how to roll your ability scores. In not last week, but the week before video, we mentioned that you don't get your ability scores from your lineage or your heritage, which is something that is very different than what typical Dungeons & Dragons does. But I promise you're going to enjoy the new ways that this works. And to kick us off, I'm going to pass the ball on off to Livy to explain the three main ways.
Yep. So the three main ways you're going to be setting up your character are going to be rolling, buying them via point buy, or standard array. None of these methods are better than any other, and it's just going to depend on your table and your personal preference. So we're really excited to walk you through them today.
Starting out, we have a classic, a very familiar rolling for your stats. In Tales of the Valiant, you're going to deal with the typical 6 ability scores: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. When rolling your stats, you're going to do something very similar as you're used to, 4d6, dropping the lowest. The only caveat being is that your +2 has to be on an ability score of 16 and lower, and your +1 has to be on an ability score of 17 and lower. So it kind of prevents that little min-maxing game that some people like to play. Speaking of rolling for ability scores, why not do that with Misty Mountain Gaming Dice? In fact, if you go over to their website right now and use promo code ToVsday, you can save 10% off your entire order and also support the channel, which honestly we would deeply appreciate. But on top of that, you can get dice like these. I mean, honestly, look at these. They're Litlcord and they're filled with glitter. I don't know if I want to roll them or eat them, but either way I'm going to have a great time. Please don't eat your dice. No, seriously, please do not eat your dice because these edges are nice and crisp. They're quality made and you will regret it. Now, let's say, for example, maybe you heeded my warning and you're not going to eat your dice, but maybe something else does, whether it be the table, the dog, the concrete. I don't know where you play D&D. It could be in a back alley. But if you ever were to chip or break your dice, Misty Mountain Gaming has got you covered because they offer a lifetime warranty on their dice. That's unheard of. Honestly, I really appreciate it. Anyway, I want to get you back to the video as soon as possible, so do consider go checking out their website, and don't forget to use promo code ToVsday. Thank you again, guys.
Alright, so when it comes to point buy, I think this is something that a lot of people are very familiar with. It's certainly something that GMs use to keep an overall balanced level field, because sometimes when you're rolling, you have that just chance and luck that's part of it, and some people might not roll as great. So that's where point buy is very popular. However, as you may have noticed and is kind of notable throughout all of these, it is taking those extra bonus modifiers that you would get from either your races or through something else in D&D 5e. It is instead just inherently a part of your base kit of your character. This also helps with just making, again, that level playing field. So if someone is wanting to be a marshal versus a caster, it's not going to be super difficult to say like, oh crap, I needed 1 good high stat versus I need 2 high stats for different classes as a need. Instead of having 27 points to spend for your ability scores, like the normal D&D 5e, you instead have 32 points to spend. And not only that, yes, there is again a ability score point cost table that you kind of follow to figure out what your purchase amount is. You still have where you can't go lower than an 8 for your score. However, instead of 15 being the highest, you are able to go all the way up to 18, which is huge, because that means you can go all the way up to 18. It costs you 16 of your points, so that means you still have half of your points available. So you can still split it up pretty well if you would like to. It makes it super easy and simple, and of course you're not going to add anything extra on top of that once you're done using it, because those extra points that go into it is what makes the balance there.
Last but not least, we have standard array, which is also way beefier than you remember. Tales of the Valiant has us starting out with 16, 14, 14, 13, 10, and 1 8 holding up the behinds. This is gonna make sure that you're much more well-rounded. Point by, sometimes I'm tempted to have 8 in strength and 8 in intelligence, but standard array never lets me down. And once you set these stats, you're not going to modify them any further. You're good to go.
Alright, and then you have those ability modifiers. So of course with your ability scores, that's just the big chunky, nice number that goes with it, 15, 16, whatever the number is. And with that you have the correlated numbers. Those modifiers are going to be the exact same. So whatever your bonus would be to add or subtract to something, it's going to be the exact same, with a 1 being a -5 modifier all the way up to a 20 being a +5, and everything in between, with those being in 2 sets of digits. So the only thing that's going to be a little bit different that you'll start to notice whenever you use TOV, especially through RAGM, is that Tales of the Valiant goes through monster stat blocks and some other stat blocks by not posting that big number there, but instead they put the little modifiers there, which is really helpful because when you're looking at a stat sheet, and you're just like looking through it very quickly and you're trying to figure out, okay, do I add this or subtract this? You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to remember anything. Just makes it very set and clear. Usually those big numbers aren't very relevant. And so that kind of helps reduce some of that confusion that can come with that. And we'll talk a little bit more about stat blocks in one of the next videos here.
And that's pretty much all we have to say as far as the ability scores and rolling for your stats. It's a couple of minor changes that makes the worlds of a difference, in my opinion. Next week, we're going to be going over the luck mechanic within Tales of the Valiant. That's different than like the lucky feat from D&D or the lucky talent from Tales of the Valiant. It is a completely different system that is incredibly unique and diverse and powerful if you know how to utilize it. So we're looking forward to teaching you that next week. In the meantime, thank you guys again for checking out the channel. Don't forget to check out Misty Mountain Gaming, get some dice, some minis, a DM screen from Talon and Claw, they're partnered, and use promo code ToVsday to save 10% off your order and kick back to the channel. Give us a little support. In the meantime, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next ToVsday. Bye-bye for now.
Bye!